I found this combine harvester for $12. It's got grime, it's got dust, and it's missing a couple parts. But I've made a habit of buying and restoring sets like this, and today I want to show you how to do it. Because so many people now are going for complete sets in sealed or good condition, and getting a deal on a neglected or well-used set can be easier than you think. And as you'll see when I'm done with this, they can come back pretty nicely. As for this set, it came from a thrift store, but you can find sets like these everywhere. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Bricks and Minifigs, an old collection of somebody you know. If you're in the market for a set, you'll eventually find one you're looking for. This video isn't going to be a deep dive on every single step of the process, but it's going to be a pretty good guide for once you buy a set. And to hopefully help you get an even better idea, I'm not only going to be restoring this combine, but I'm also going to be restoring this Racers Ferrari Enzo, which I got for about half of what a nice one goes for after shipping. Some of these sets may be missing pieces, so if you're not comfortable swapping out a part or two, even if it looks the same, this video might not be for you, and that's okay. But let's get into it. The first thing I do after bringing my set home is washing the parts. Before you begin, you want to make sure you take apart the set and separate any parts with stickers. When I clean the parts, I want to make sure I don't damage any stickers because those can be difficult or expensive to find again. But most importantly, I just don't think most sets need new stickers. Some cases are worse than others. You're also going to need a place to wash the parts. Somewhere like a sink works well if you have a plug that prevents Lego from going down the drain, but a bathtub or strainer works depending on how much you have and if you can drain the water without draining the parts. Do not use a dishwasher or washing machine because that carries a high risk of damaging or warping the parts. I really don't want the blame for if you have a bunch of wiggly and wavy Lego pieces after you wash them, because I'm telling you now, don't do it. Use hand washing. I'm also linking Lego's advice down in the description if you want to read it after this video. Next, I grab dish soap. If you want to use something different, do your research, but a lot of people just use plain water. Especially if they're just dusty, a water bath on the parts can go a long way. I only recommend dish soap because it's pretty harmless to the parts and gets off any smells and germs you don't want. Anyways, now I can actually wash the parts. It's pretty much what you expect. Just want to get some warm water, add a dash of soap if you like, and swirl the parts around. The longer you swirl and the more you mix the parts, the cleaner they get. After that, just drain the water, being careful not to let anything slip down the drain. A lot of the time, the parts will still be soapy. If this applies to you, fill the sink again, mix the parts, and drain it. There might still be some bubbles after the rinse, so you can repeat this part a couple times if you need to. Next up, drying the parts. Don't use a hairdryer or a clothes dryer or a microwave. My friend tried that. Don't do it. Instead, get a towel and scoop the parts onto the towel and leave them somewhere that they can dry for a while until they're dry. If you have a fan, leaving it running next to the parts can help the process go a lot faster. Bigger pieces will still have pooled water in them a lot of the time, but when you build the set, you can just smack them against the towel and the water will be no more. I also wanted to make a little side note and post. If your pieces are yellowed, there are guides online for how to unyellow them. I'm not going to be doing it today, but I'll link a couple resources in the description. Go check them out. That brings us to my favorite bit, building the set. If the set came with instructions, perfect. If not, you can find them on Lego's website, or there are a lot of YouTube channels that post instruction manuals from old sets. Both of my sets came with instructions, so I'll be using those. Additionally, now would be the time to dust off or clean off the stickered parts however you like, since they didn't get washed, because it gets a little more challenging to do that once the set is built. Once you get past all that stuff, I start building. If you prefer to sort your parts first or to inventory them and figure out if you're missing anything, go for it. But unless it's a really big set, I don't. As you build, you may come across missing parts. Depending on how many there are, you may be able to find these parts or reasonable substitutes in your own collection. If you can't, you'll either have to improvise a bit and change the build to make it your own, or you'll have to buy the parts online. I've actually had all of these happen before. My cousins gave me their Hogwarts castle and I was missing enough parts to justify a Bricklink order. My Mini Cooper was just missing a few parts that I was able to find in my collection, and these two concrete mixers had both been modified significantly. It's kind of like a spot the difference game. My brother also has a Star Wars Venator that he just finished by ordering the parts from Bricklink. So, although it may not be completely original, you can still salvage a set like this that has a lot of parts missing. Once you build the set, voila! You now have a beautiful set free of dust and grime, and hopefully you saved some money in the process. I hope this guide inspired you to rescue some unloved Lego sets, and as always, thank you for watching.